Today I'm going to talk about heavy metal poisoning and compare it to mycotoxin illness, and we'll see which one of these is more important and more significant for most people. First, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is for informational and educational purposes only. So back to the topic, okay? Heavy metal toxicity. Is this something that's really happening out there? People have heavy metals in their body and they're hurting them? Of course they are. Absolutely. Almost everybody has high levels of heavy metals to some degree, but the question is, are they affecting your symptoms? And that is determined by the person's own immune system. You could have one person that has high levels of lead, another person that has low levels or moderate levels of lead, and the person that has lower levels is being affected more by the lead. It doesn't have to do with how much of it's in the body as much as how the immune system is responding to it. And that is the common thread between heavy metals and mycotoxins, okay? You could have someone that has high heavy metal levels and is exhibiting no symptoms. You could have someone who has high mycotoxin levels and exhibiting next to no symptoms. On the other hand, you could have moderate levels or relatively low to moderate levels of both, and they could be causing tons of symptoms. And once again, it comes back to the same thing. It is your immune system's level of sensitivity to these things is what dictates the reaction to them. So what's the bigger issue? Is it heavy metals or is it mycotoxins? Well, heavy metals are in everything. And this is a really big problem because heavy metals, when they get into the body, they don't usually leave. You could have lead that's minimum in the body for 12 to 18 months. And mercury, things like that could be in your body for the rest of your life. So this is really important to realize that, hey, heavy metals do exist. They are in the air. They are in everything around us. Do we need to do something about it? Yes, it's important to be able to bind to heavy metals, get rid of them, and do that over time and eat more plant fiber and things like that. But the reality about heavy metals is the more fiber you eat, the less likely you're going to absorb them when they're in their food, the less likely they're going to become a problem because these fibers will bind to some of these heavy metals and remove them out of your body. The lower fiber your diet is, the more animal product based, the higher chance you have of accumulating these heavy metals and causing issues and having an irritated immune system. So are heavy metals a big deal? Yeah. What are the best things you could use for heavy metals? Zeolite, micronized zeolite, carbonized bamboo, bentonite clay, activated, chlorella, or cracked cell wall chlorella, apple pectin, etc. These all things are excellent. These are all excellent for heavy metals, okay? Now, in terms of mycotoxins, you could use all the same binders on mycotoxins, but the problem with mycotoxins that people don't understand is that it's less often about how mycotoxins that are in their body and more often about how sensitive they are to them, because these mycotoxins are present in most homes, in most places. So you got to realize that, hey, if I'm sensitive to mycotoxins and I'm still living in a home with mycotoxins, I will have exaggerated symptoms and things will get worse, right? And the reality is, okay, that mycotoxins are a much more realistic threat than heavy metals. Even though heavy metals are in the foods, they're in baby formula, they're in this, they're in that. Even though heavy metals even stick in your body a lot longer than mycotoxins, the problem is mycotoxins are so prevalent. They're everywhere. They're in 2/3, if not more, homes. They're almost in every place that you go. The question is, how sensitive are you to them? And how old is the building? Has there been water damage? All those things matter. But if you have a mycotoxin sensitivity, you can really, within a matter of days, just flare up and be just completely off and running in terms of symptoms. I've seen this with myself, my daughter, etc. So in terms of both of them, which one's the bigger threat, heavy metals or mycotoxins? Honestly, heavy metals can cause more permanent damage if you have a significant exposure. They are more toxic than mycotoxins, theoretically, but mycotoxins are a more relevant threat. They're nearly everywhere, and there's a lot more people getting sick right now due to mycotoxins and their sensitivity than there are heavy metals. These are the two main things that are in the environment that are really causing us the most problems. And unless you address these and make sure that you're not being exposed to these, you're not full of these, etc., then you'll have a tough time being able to get your health back in order. To me, this is what I've seen with clients. Of course, it's what we're consuming, what we're inhaling, what we're thinking from the beginning that aggravates our symptoms, but you could have exposure to mycotoxins. You could have chronic buildup of these heavy metals that's impairing your ability to break foods down, to have your immune system functioning properly, etc. So at the end of the day, the mycotoxins, I would say, are the bigger threat because it's more of a imminent threat, something you see, literally every day. I see with clients all the time. The heavy metals are much less likely to be the issue, but they're much more threatening if they are an issue. You could have severe issues with heavy metals and then have a very difficult time of getting out of that situation. When on the other side, you can get out of the mycotoxins, you can get into a clean home, you can get your body out of that state where it's got a flood of mycotoxins in it. You can do that relatively quickly, and it doesn't take like months, if not years, to recover like it would with heavy metal poisoning. So Go to my website, endsickness.org. I got hundreds of videos, hundreds of articles teaching about how to heal yourself from these chronic illnesses. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.